Mario here, joining me today as well in person. So let's start. Sit up tall. Take these extra moments just to find the right situation for you. Making slight adjustments, small adjustments is really important. Particularly when we start, you want to make sure that there's a sense of comfort. So you're not struggling to sit up. You're able to sit up with, not too much effort. Bring your palms together and gently feel the eyes as they start to close, the eyelids closing top to bottom. Inviting your senses inward. Contemplating the rhythm of the breath. The texture of the breath. Allow the mouth to be slightly open so that you can sense the coolness of the breath as you inhale and exhale. And then see if you can draw on the nostrils a little bit more now, with the lips gently closing. Inviting the breath deeply into the body. From the two sit bones, feel like you're grounding through the lower part of the body, but lifting up through the upper part. So it's a sit down to lift up. Rooting the two sits bones. It's as if you're a plant that's finding its way deep into the earth, but at the same time, drawing itself upward. The two very distinct and opposing forces that seem to work together to create something. The grounding and the lifting. Let that lift expand into your side body. Notice how the inhale encourages and supports the lift. Lifting through the back ribs, see if you can get a little bit of space by inhaling right into the back ribs and lifting them away from the low back. And then relaxing your shoulders as you exhale. Bringing the shoulder blades and the low ribs, back ribs back toward each other. Draw the chin in. Soften the lips and the tongue. We'll chant 3 Oms. Yogena Chittasya Padena Vacham Malam Sharigasya Chava Yogena Yopa Karatam Kavaramaninaam Patanjalim Pranjalir Anatosmi Abahu Purushakaram Shankachakrasidarinam Sahasrashir Samshwetam Prananami Patanjalim Hari Om. Bow your head towards your heart center. Release your hands. Lift your head and open your eyes. Great. Let's start off with two poses here that we'll do using the block. So we'll start off with the bridge pose with the block. Setubandha Sarvangasana. You're going to take your block and we're going to lay down. And we're going to bring a little attention to the shoulders actually in this pose. So what we're going to do is walk the feet in, take the block lengthwise across the sacrum, lift your hips up, and then set the block directly under the upper part of the sacrum. And then just let your arms open here. You're in bridge. And notice how this impacts your shoulders. It's a real invitation to release the shoulders, the shoulder blades into the ground. Notice the amount of pressure that appears to be building in the upper part of the body. I'm talking about the upper chest, the throat, the neck, and the head, the face. Just pay attention to that. As you're bearing some weight down into the upper body, you start to feel that pressure, new blood moving into the areas, which is part of the process here. It's a slight inversion. Seeing if you can relax the throat. Lift your toes and the balls of the feet off the floor, spread them, and then set them down with a new awareness to the touch of the foot against the floor. And then relax the inner thighs here. You don't need to be engaging in that area. In fact, there's very little engaging anywhere in this pose. It's mostly a receptive pose. There are several poses in yoga. Well, there are many poses in yoga that are receptive, which suggests that there's less action or no action, no effort. The diminished effort gives us an opportunity to become more aware of the touch of the body against the ground. Become more sensitive in our skin, allowing the feet and all those nerve endings in the soles of the feet to become more awakened. See if you can zoom in there and sense that as you relax over and over the feet, the legs. Notice any sensation that begins to become apparent between the ground and the foot. I love doing this pose with the eyes closed.
Now I'm beginning to feel and sense much more going on in the feet and the ankles and the calves than I did when I first moved into this pose. The more you release, the more you sense. And the greater that sense goes through the entire body. Notice the upper arms, the back of the hand, the back of the elbow, the back of the head. And then bring your attention lastly back to the shoulders. Then take your hand to the block, lift your hips slightly off the block, and lower your hips down to the floor, and let your two knees fall in together for a few breaths. And notice how that pressure that was built up in the upper body has now diminished. Great. Now take hold of your block, bring the block between the knees, and roll your knees to the right. Knees are bent. It's not a deep twist. It's just a pretty easy, doable twist. Don't want to put a lot of effort into this. Notice how this brings attention to the left outer glute, the gluteus medius, the maximus. That's great. And we're going to stop here and roll back. And we're going to then, you may want to adjust your hips, make sure that your hips are lined up with your shoulders, and then go across into the second side. Just placing the left hand on top of the right thigh here. Rolling your right palm open is going to help put the shoulder in a more relaxed position. And then bringing attention to the right glute here as well. You can just touch the outer part of the medius there. You'll see that, feel that it's a little bit taut. So you're stretching it gently. You want to kind of try to let go any tension in the body here. So before you come out of the pose, see if you can stop putting effort into maintaining the position. Just let the body do what it feels naturally it wants to do in this configuration. You may feel that that upper leg is sliding in slightly. Great, and then just go ahead and come back. Readjust your hips, and now you're going to roll to the right and help yourself up. You'll take your block, and we're going to take downward facing dog with the block. If you prefer the bolster, you may use your bolster for this or some pillows. Make sure you have a couple of pillows if you don't have a firm bolster, and then spread your fingers, spread your palms, lift up into downward facing dog, and you got to negotiate the the block here. So 2 positions for the head this morning. You're going to look forward between the hands and then set the forehead down on the block. That's the first position. And there's this calming quality that is invited into the mind here as the forehead touches the block. Make sure that you're stretching your arms, stretching your legs, because that is really the essence of this pose. 4 very engaged limbs. Notice if you're putting a lot of effort into your shoulders, see if you can bring a little more into the arm. So it's not just the shoulders. Otherwise, the shoulders will get tight if you put too much effort into the shoulder, particularly in this position, and not enough into the arms. Your shoulders are going to feel exhausted and they're going to tighten up. Now bring your attention to your legs and engage the legs. Draw the inner thigh back. Draw the calf muscles down. And notice how your shoulders have again taken on a lot of responsibility where the arms really need to come into play. Good. Now, lift your head off the block. Now tuck your chin and look toward your feet and bring the top of the skull down onto the block. Pressing into the floor with your palms, draw through the wrists into the forearms. Forearms through the elbow and into the upper arm. Hips moving back and up. Heels moving down. Lift your head, bend your knees. Keep your toes tucked and just move your hips back. You may take your block and just set your head on the block. Get the hips back as far as you can. Move the block to support your head. Now, engage your arms in this one. Notice how there's less weight bearing on the hands, so you have more of a chance to feel the drawing up from the floor, through the hand, the wrist, the elbow, and into the shoulders, and then back to the sit bone. Great, come on up. And then you'll have a seat. Now, we're going to have a seat here. We'll take the right leg and bring it off to the side. Look, so it's half Upavista Konasana. And then the left foot is going to come in to the right upper thigh. So now you're in Janu Shirshasana, but that's just the foundation of the pose. Now we're going to turn our bodies all the way over that left leg. And we're moving into a twist, twisting away from the right leg and over the left thigh. Then from here, you can walk your hands forward on your mat. And if you can, you'll bring your forearms down on the floor. And now I'm going to flex the right heel and twist my body a little bit more to the left. Now, as I twist, I draw the sternum chest forward toward the hands because I want to create length there in the spine. So I'm lengthening the spine and I'm twisting. That's great. And slowly help yourself up. Go ahead and keep this position. Take your hands up. Take the right hand off to the right, to the outside of the right leg. And you'll try to set this left thigh down as you turn to the right. Now, you may need your strap for the next piece of this, but if you can do it without, try it. Lift your left arm up and reach your left hand to the right foot. Again, it's important to think about the lengthening of the spine here. Always thinking about that when you twist. You can't really get an effective result if you're not creating the length first before you move into the twist. If you'd like now, you can take the right hand to the foot as well. So it's more like the classic Janu Sirsasana. That's great. Good. Go ahead and come up. And let's gently straighten the left leg. Take your left heel off to the side and take your right heel in. And if you need support at all for the knee, you put a block under the knee. So I'm going to turn now to the right. You just take both hands over the right thigh onto the floor and lift. And there's that lift, that length in the spine. So I'm flexing that left heel and lifting the chest and lengthening through the top of the skull here. And now I'm going to walk the hands forward and see if I can lower myself down, still maintaining that length, turning away from the left leg. Another way of creating length is to try to set the left sit bone down closer to the floor. And that's going to give you that length in the lower part of the spine that's sometimes hard to get to. That's great. So you're going to come back up very slowly, quite a deep twist. And then you're going to come back and you're going to turn toward the left leg. And keep my left hand off to the side, lift the right arm up and bring that right hand to your foot, to the strap if necessary. Twisting the body around. If you'd like to take the left hand and let it also come to the foot. Now it becomes more of a forward bend rather than a twist. Remember to look for that softening of the shoulders. That's great. And go ahead and come up. And we'll go ahead and take the two heels forward. Just as a counter pose. Draw the flesh of the buttocks out. Feet are together. And hands are off to the side. And just stretch through the heels for a moment. And let your hands rest on your thighs. Close your eyes. And see if you can bring your torso into alignment with your hips. Drawing the chin back is really important. Lifting the chest, wiping the collarbones, drawing the shoulder blades down, engaging the abdomen, and also making sure those legs are engaged. Feeling the sit bones on the heels. You're trying to create a right angle body. Take your right knee and bend the knee and bring the knee. Bend the knee and bring the right foot back. And then you're going to come to this pose, which is you're going to take your two hands back to that original position, away from your left leg. But then I'm going to bend the left knee. You see, I'm just going to bend the left knee and bring this left foot in toward the right thigh. And then I'm going to slowly ease my way down. Now, if you apply a bolster or any other setup that might resemble a bolster, you can bring your right cheek onto the bolster. If you don't have a bolster, you can put a couple of blocks there and throw the blanket over it. Or maybe a couple of pillows will work really well. Now, the breathing can be a little bit stunted here. So we'll just work through that as much as you can. So try not to give in to the shallow breathing and be a little bit more intentional by taking the breath in more fully. It's almost like you're taking the breath down into the hips. All right, we're going to come back up nice and slowly. And we're going to uncross the legs. Take your left knee, bend it, bring your left foot back. And then turn toward the other side, bending your right knee and bringing the foot in toward the left knee. And then when you're ready, you can start to come down, always thinking about lengthening as you come down. You're lifting those ribs, lifting the chest. And take your left cheek down if that's possible. And if you feel like it's too much pressure on your neck, just turn to the other side. Adjustment is to lift the chest again and draw the ribs forward. You feel like you can get a little bit more of that space. Good. Start to lift yourself up. Almost like you're peeling your skin off of the bolster. Come back. And very slowly bring the 2 feet forward. Back into Dandasana. Set your hands again on your thighs. And close your eyes and visualize that right angle that your entire body is making. And can you make those lines sharper? Can you make the points sharper? So the main point here, of course, the only point is the sit bones. So how do you make that point super sharp as it connects to the heels and as it connects to the top of the skull? Good, then open your eyes. So for your next pose, you're going to take a strap and you want to make a big loop in your strap here. So it's going to be dependent on your body size and your leg length. This one, so what I'm going to do is start off with pretty good sized loop. That's going to come over my shoulders here, like this. And then I'm going to put my head on the blanket because this is a reclined pose. And you can have a bolster or a block over to your right. So this pose is a hands-free pose. What I want, I'm going to take the right foot and loop it now around, loop the strap around the foot. I don't want it too tight because I want to be able to bring it off to the side here. See that? So you might have to just play a little bit for a couple of breaths, just taking the leg up. It should feel pretty tight, but you don't want it to be, crushing your chest either. So you got to just, maneuver the strap so that it feels somewhat comfortable. I think I got the right tension here for me. And this is just an easy, hands-free, upper body-free way of bringing attention to that right leg. Notice I have the left knee bent for now. Of course, you don't want to have the buckle close to your body because if it's touching, it's going to not feel good. It's going to be distracting as well. But you do want to have access to it so you can loosen or tighten it. Now, right here, you're going to take your left leg and just lift the heel off the floor, but push through the heel and set the leg back down. Now, don't worry if you feel like you're not touching the ground with the back of the leg, that's okay. Just relax there, relax the hip, relax the thigh. And eventually it'll start to release. Not something we want to push down into place. It's something we want to guide down when it's ready. Notice the tension in the front of the left hip here. You can feel that. Usually has some tension there. All right, now we're going to start to lift the right leg up with the left leg straight. Just lift the right leg up and then just hold on to the strap. And you're just going to keep the right leg vertical. And we just want to get a little bit of a stretch through the back of the leg here because the Padangusthasana, the off to the side position, it focuses more on the inner thigh and adductor area and less in the back of the leg. So this is an opportunity to stretch a little bit more of the rest of the leg here. And you can pull the strap in towards you a little bit if you feel like you can go further. But I'll tell you what, hamstrings and other parts of your leg like to be stretched slowly and also independently. So isolating the muscles for stretching is a very smart idea. I'm going to do that. And then release. Go ahead and just set that leg down next to the left leg for a few breaths. And just feel the two sides. Generally speaking, you'll start to feel something in the hips. So you might feel like that right hip right now is a little bit lower. Well, I'm speaking for myself, actually, because I can definitely feel like there's a little bit more weight in that right side of the sacrum, the corner of this right sacrum there. It seems to be leaning down into the floor a little bit more. I want to pay attention to that. And then I'm going to bend the knees. And I'm going to go to the second side. So your strap should be close enough to how you need it to be in terms of tension. Although it's not definitive. One leg might be a little bit longer than the other. So I'm going to take the strap around the shoulders again. Lift your left leg and bring the foot through the strap. And then slowly start to take the leg off, keeping the right knee bent. Take the leg off. You'll feel the foot slide down the strap a little bit. And you're going to rest lightly on the prop. Yeah, make sure that you adjust the strap so that it's not digging into your chest. You gotta make it, feel somewhat comfortable. Now we're gonna bring our attention to the right leg and just lift the heel just a little bit off the floor. And then flex your foot and push through the heel to lengthen the leg and set the back of the leg down. Again, just noticing how close or far away from the floor the buttock is or the calf. Don't try to press it down. It's not the goal here. The goal is to be patient and notice how it will release. Right. We're ready to come up now. So very slowly start to lift your left leg away from the prop. Bring it up to the vertical position. You can reach up now with your hands and you'll just hold over the strap and you're going to steer that leg as close as you want. But don't be too aggressive. Don't be too forceful. Go gently. Go deliberately. Stretch the back of the left leg. Keep your elbows bent so your shoulders are relaxed. And then release and set your leg down next to the right leg. And just let go for a moment. Take your hands by your sides and observe. Now observe the two sides of the hip. In working the leg, you have adjusted the hip. It's in a better position to support the leg and support the body. Good. Bend your knees. Roll to your side and help yourself up. Now, I talked about isolating. And today we're going to isolate the hamstring here. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna put a prop under our knees. I'm gonna just use my bolster since it's ready here. But you can put a couple of blocks and a blanket or roll a blanket up. And put that under the knees. The bolster might actually be too high, but regardless, we're gonna isolate the hamstrings. So we're gonna put the legs over the bolster, which means that you keep the knees bent. Which means that you're gonna isolate from the back of the knee to the sit bone. So I'm gonna lean forward and draw the sit bone out and back, out and back. I'm gonna lift the two arms up. And I'm gonna bring the two hands toward the outer edges of the feet. Oh. Then I'm gonna release the head. So if the legs are straight, you're not isolating the hamstrings. You're actually pulling on the entire back of the body. Now in Uttanasana, the classic pose is with the legs straight. But if you want to get deeper into your Uttanasana, the way to do it is to isolate certain muscle groups, such as this. And it's eventually going to lengthen the hamstring without pulling on the rest of the back body, which is way more effective in many ways. It's also a really good way of taking care of your low back. You can just let the hands go for a moment and let that wrist rest over the ankles. This is also a great way to stretch the back muscles because again, they're a little bit more isolated with the back and the knee bent. It's not pulling so much on the tissue in the entire back body. So this is a real opportunity to take the breath into your back muscles. The breath actually stretches the muscles from within rather than from without. Good. Take your hands to your thighs and push your chest up. Now I want to do this pose again, but I don't want to use the prop this time. I'm going to take the prop away, I'm going to turn around, and I'm just going to come into a standing forward bend with the knees bent. I'm going to take my hands to the floor with the knees bent. I'm going to lift my chest, lift the ribs away from the thigh, and bring the ribs forward toward the knee, and then back down with the head. And then I'm going to very slowly begin to straighten the legs, but not all the way. Now take your hands to the back of the knees. And then run your hands slowly from the back of the knees up just about a third of the way and feel those hamstring muscles. You feel how tight they are? And then all the way up toward the sit bones. Take your hands to your sit bones. Pull the sit bones back and up as you straighten the legs. And again, you don't have to straighten them all the way. And then release the arms back down, and wherever you're at, if you can straighten the legs almost fully, do that, but don't go all the way, because we still want to just isolate into the hamstrings. Good. Come on back down. Onto the knees. You're gonna take the heels high, you're gonna separate the feet, and you're gonna take that one more time, that pose. With the hips back, the arms forward, it's that hybrid pose. Good, and then come up. Excellent. Turn around. Take your strap. I'm gonna use my prop again. This time I'm gonna use my bolster, but whatever you have available, you can definitely use a block. Don't put your head on the blanket, however. Gonna take the strap back over the head, down to the hips. Take the feet, both feet come through into the strap. You're gonna pull the bolster in, tilt the hips up, and take the hips back onto the bolster or block. Viparita Karani. And again, you're gonna notice some pressure in the upper body. Maybe a little more now that the legs are fully extended upright. Now let the ball of the foot press into the strap, and it's almost like you're moving the strap forward away from the body slightly. So you're pushing into the strap with the feet. Aha, and you find that tension between the feet and the hips here. That's what you want. Now, if you find this is challenging for you to sustain the upright position of the legs, you can put your legs against a wall or a door. And always, always adjust the tension if necessary in the strap to suit your needs. Thinking about drawing the feet away from the body and finding that tension. Make sure that you relax the throat here. Good, you're gonna release. Take the strap away, set the feet back down. Still in that bridge now, we're back to that first pose that we did, the bridge. And then lift your hips and take the prop away. So our last pose today is going to be Supta Baddha Konasana. Again, your strap is going to be, you don't have to use a strap for that, but I find it just a little bit more specific when I use this strap. So I'm going to use a bolster. Please use some sort of prop that's going to support your back. And if you have a block, you can put a block under so you have make a little incline. And you can also put a blanket or a towel toward the end of the bolster to make a little bit of a pillow for your head. And then you're going to sit right close to the edge of the bolster. We want to get the sacrum somewhat supported here. And then we're going to bend the two knees and bring the feet in and loop the strap through the legs and around the feet. You all are pros at this point, so you know. And then you want to pull, before you lie down, bring your hips way into that bolster or to the prop and pull the heels in and make the strap pretty tight. And then you're going to ease the body back. It feels really nice. And I do like the little ledge for the head, the back of the skull feels well supported and the neck feels supported. Observing the natural curves in the spine here. So very prominently, I'm observing the cervical curve and the lumbar curve. Now take 3 or 4 big breaths into the chest and the rib cage. Feel the swelling of the rib cage, exhaling back down into the throat. Feel the openness of the body. Feel that symmetry. In this pose, I like to try to focus on the pelvic area. I want to soften and release all of the connective tissue between the legs and the hips. And my breath is there as a support there to help get deeper and deeper into the layers of tissue. Now take your hand to elbow and reach your arms over the head, hand to elbow. Bringing a little bit of openness now into the upper body. Little bit of bright energy into the body. A little sparkle for your day. Recross your arms. And then bring the arms back by the sides. This pose has the ability to put a smile on your face. So I'm now thinking about the central axis of the spine. And I'm particularly thinking about the chakras from the root to the throat. And I'm inviting those chakras to align. 5 chakras. I'm going to reach down and release the buckle of my strap. And then I'm going to extend the legs out in front. Flex your heels and press through the heels. Pressing the back of the leg down into the floor. And then just relax the feet for a moment. And bend your knees. And roll to your side. Friendly spider just came to join me. I hope it's friendly. I'm just sitting. Come on. Bring your palms together. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you very much for joining me today. So it's nice to know I have an extra yogi in my class here today. Apart from Mario, I have a little spider sitting right here. Have a great weekend, and I will see you Monday. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Arthur. Thank you.
Nina, take care.
Thank you, Arthur.